My first week, I always had this idea of um, missionaries who serve in a foreign country. They have this huge culture shock kind of a thing, and it wasn't really like that. That's one of the things that surprised me most is how much I wasn't shocked by the culture. It's completely different. It is very different, but it was it was livable. I'm from Arizona. I grew up in Mesa, Arizona, and I actually felt like that my first area had a lot of similarities to Mesa, Arizona, like especially the parts where there were more like a higher Mexican population. Hope that's not racist, but it's totally true though. That's what it felt like in a lot of places. There were some significant differences though. Obviously, the language. Um, One funny little story is that in Paraguay there are two official languages in the country. There's Spanish and there's Guarani, which is an indigenous language um, similar to Quechua. Um, and so we learned Spanish in the MTC. We hadn't learned any Guarani. So we get out there and walking through the streets and everything, and then people start speaking to us in this language that I don't know. And I turned to my companion. I don't know if it was Spanish or Guarani. I know that people speak Guarani, but I couldn't tell the difference between them. I didn't know if a and he turns to me and is like, "Elder, that was actually not the language they taught you in the MTC." So like, thumbing my nose at that stereotype. Um, but it was the there were a lot of dirt roads, um, not much pavement, not much like concrete floors. There were a lot of poor people, people living in very poor circumstances. But it was interesting too. Um, you watch these commercials on TV about starving children in Africa and stuff like that, and you learn about third world countries and the terrible circumstances that they live in. And so then there I am in the middle of one, in the middle of a third world country, and the terrible circumstances that they live in. And it was fascinating to me that they live that way. I mean, it's not like they're crying every day. They're not crying themselves to sleep every night because they live that way. They found a way to live and really be effective people in those circumstances. And they're obviously not ideal circumstances, and they're not satisfied with their circumstances, obviously. But that was fascinating to me. That's really a way of life, and you can't say that they're suffering, that they're hungry constantly, kind of thing, like you see on the commercials and whatever. But there's just some interesting things to get used to.